You know, when the lights go out, there's a figure that has been haunting Slavic children for centuries. He's this crooked old man carrying a sack who lurks just outside the window. He goes by the name Babay. And tonight, we're gonna pull back the curtain on this classic boogeyman.
Just think back for a second. Back to your own childhood. Was there a monster under your bed? A creature hiding in the closet? Well, for millions of kids all across Eastern Europe, that answer was always the same, and it had a name.
So at its core, Babay is basically a tool, a folkloric disciplinarian, if you will, a nasty night spirit whose whole job is to scare kids into behaving and, most importantly, into finally going to sleep. But a figure this terrifying, where does he even come from?
To really get Babay, we've got to jump in the time machine and head way back, through centuries of cultural history. This is a story where ancient spirits met new languages, and together they cooked up a brand new kind of monster.
So you can see here the whole idea of a scary night spirit. That's super old. It's rooted in these pre-Christian Slavic beliefs about, the unquiet dead. But the Baba we know today really started to take shape when Slavic peoples came into contact with Turkic groups. That's where he got his name. After that, he pretty much just lurked in oral stories for hundreds of years until the 19th century, when academics finally started writing it all down.
And this is where things get really interesting. See, the name Babay actually comes from a Turkic word that means grandfather. This word sort of blended with the already existing Slavic fears of these creepy night-wandering spirits, and boom, you get a brand new monster. A creature that has the scary authority of a cranky old man, but the supernatural terror of an ancient demon. All right, so we've got his origin story. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's build a profile of the monster himself. What is it exactly that makes Babay so darn scary?
Here's the secret to his power, and it's brilliant. It's the unknown. The folklore is intentionally, almost frustratingly vague about what he looks like. And this isn't some lazy storytelling. No, it's actually a genius strategy because it forces a child's own imagination to do the heavy lifting, to build the scariest monster imaginable. Okay, so even though he's mostly a shadow, there are a few details that keep popping up. He's almost always a pitch black, crooked, hunched over old man. And a lot of the stories give him these really unsettling deformities, like he can't speak, or maybe he's missing an arm or a leg. It's all designed to mark him as something unnatural, something otherworldly and just wrong. And of course, every good monster needs his props, right? Babay has two iconic ones. First, there's the big sack. It has one and only one terrifying purpose: to stuff misbehaving kids into and carry them away. And second is his cane. It's not just for walking, oh no. It's for making those faint, sinister tapping or scratching noises right outside your window.
And here's the thing, most kids never actually see him. They meet him through this warning, whispered by their parents or grandparents. A phrase like this, it turns a simple bedtime rule into a powerful psychological threat. He becomes this constant, invisible danger. You see, Baba's whole MO is pure psychological warfare. He's not a jump scare monster. He lurks. He just watches from outside, making just enough noise, a little scratch, a faint tap, to let you know he's there. And then he invades the one place you're supposed to be safe, your bedroom. He's under the bed, he's in the closet, turning your personal sanctuary into ground zero for anxiety. Okay, but here's where it gets really cool. Babay isn't just one guy. He's more like a whole terrifying family. As you travel across the Slavic world, his name, his appearance, and just how terrifying he is, it all changes, sometimes dramatically. Just look at this breakdown. The character totally shifts depending on where you are. In Russia, you've got the classic, vague old man. Head over to Poland, and he's very specifically the sack man. In Czechia, the bubak is more of a formless ghost. And by the time you get down to the Balkans, he's morphed into this horned, almost animal-like monster. So let's just put two of these side by side to see how wild the difference is. On one side, you have the Russian Babay, super subtle terror, right? Just a shadow and a scratching sound. And on the other, you have the Serbian Bauk, a full-on jet black, horned, bear-like shapeshifter that literally paralyzes you with its roar. It's the same basic idea, but wow, what a difference in execution.
So all of this brings us to the biggest question of all. Why? Why do we create these stories? Because the real purpose of a monster like Baba Yaga goes way, way beyond just giving kids nightmares.
Babay basically has three crucial jobs. First, the obvious one. He enforces social norms, like bedtime.
go to sleep, or else. Second, he gives a face to all those primal fears. Fear of the dark, of the stranger, of what's waiting in the woods. He is everything a community is afraid of, rolled into one. And the third one, and this is kind of a twist, he actually acts as a bizarre sort of guardian, keeping society in line by punishing anyone who steps out of it.
And that right there is the key to why he's so effective. He isn't just some random monster that shows up. No, his arrival is a direct consequence. If you don't listen, he will come. If you stay up late, he will find you. In a really creepy way, he's teaching one of life's most fundamental lessons. Your actions have consequences.
But if we dig even deeper, we find this really fascinating older layer. Some experts think Babay is actually a kind of folk memory of these ancient bear ancestor spirits. These were powerful beings that enforced tribal laws. Yeah, they were punishers for sure, but their ultimate goal was to protect the community. It gives Babay this incredible dual nature. He's both a monster and the guardian.
So, at the end of the day, a monster like Babay shows us something really important. We don't invent monsters just for the thrill of being scared. We create them to enforce our rules, to give a face to our fears, and to try and explain the darkness. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What does the Boogeyman from your childhood say about the world that you grew up in?